Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Zeynep Gökçe. At just 6 years old, Istanbul Airport is already rewriting the rules of global aviation. Ranked among the world's busiest hubs, it has dominated European flight traffic for 3 straight years. It's racked up numerous awards, serving 90 million passengers annually. Now, it's made history again. In April, Istanbul became the first airport in Europe and only the second worldwide after the US to launch a triple independent runway system, a game-changing innovation allowing 3 aircrafts to operate simultaneously. With ambitions to handle 200 million passengers annually, it's already surpassed London Heathrow as the planet's most connected travel hub. And it's not stopping there. In the works are quadruple runway operations, while its Smart Airport initiative is pioneering everything from AI-powered baggage handling to fully digitalized customs. But can this $12 billion mega hub truly deliver on its promise to become both the world's smartest and busiest airport? For more, joining me now in the studio is Selahattin Bilgen, CEO of Istanbul Grand Airport. Welcome to our studio. Now, since Istanbul Airport started its commercial flights in 2019, it's been one of the busiest aviation hubs in the world. And now, with these latest developments, the simultaneous triple independent runway system.
Yes,
exactly.
That's the exact name.
So it's been a few months. What have been the results so far? How has it changed the operations, the flight operations at the airport? What has its effect been?
Actually, it is quite early to fully assess the results of the operation, but it has many advantages that we will see in the course of future. Independent triple runway operations means that 3 aircrafts can land or take off at the same time in an airport. And this was not happening in Europe up until now. So in Istanbul Airport, we are the first to achieve these operations in Europe. And actually, having 3 aircrafts moving towards the runways or taking off at the same time gives many advantages with respect to operations. It decreases the turnaround times for aircrafts. It also gives advantage with respect to taxi times in the ground. On top of it, it has also impacts in increasing the capacity utilizations. So in many aspects, it's a great achievement for us and for State Airports Authority of Turkey to have this implemented in Istanbul Airport. And we are really keen to enjoy the benefits of it in the future, having it more applied, which will ultimately increase the hourly capacity of the runways from 120 to 148 movements per hour.
So how long did it take to implement such an advanced system? What kind of arrangements did you have to make sure such a huge operation will run smoothly?
Actually, it officially dates back 2 years. But in order to have this system operational in your airport, you have to make the infrastructure ready for it. So it was in our plans from the initial construction of the airport and the runways. But we've been working on this project fully for the operational part for more than 2 years now. And actually, it started with safety analysis and simulations and airspace redesign. In order to have this project implemented, you have to redesign the airspace. You have to make sure that you fulfill all safety obligations. That's why including Eurocontrol and DHMI, our State Airports Authority, and our Civil Aviation Authority, the teams have been working on this project very hard for a long period of time. After these safety analysis and simulation work, we also have been going through very dedicated trainings for the air traffic controllers, and ultimately, after making sure that all the safety measures are in place and all the simulations work perfectly, we were able to have this triple runway operations operational starting from April this year.
Okay, so earlier you said that it's too early to see results for this triple runway operations, but right after this announcement was made public, you also announced that there will be quadruple runway operations. Why has it become so crucial for Istanbul Airport to go forward with this? There are other airports with the same infrastructure, but why don't they feel as strongly about this? What is stopping them?
Actually, the vision of Istanbul Airport project, since from its inception, has been to be one of the major aviation hubs globally. And in order to achieve this goal, it's not just the infrastructure, but also the efficiency of the operations and satisfaction of the customers and passengers. So, putting it in the center of our vision, Istanbul Airport, which will ultimately have 5 independent runways in its master plan, and towards achieving 200 million passengers after the phase 4 investments, we have been not only targeting to be the largest aviation hub, but also one of the best airports in the world. And this requires efficiency of operations and better utilization of the capacity. And triple runway or quadruple runway operations allows the airlines to operate much more efficiently. And the time they spend on the ground is very important for them. And under this competitive environment, we put this additional advantage and vision in place so that we attract more airlines and better use our capacity. That's why towards the aim to reach 200 million passengers, attracting more airlines, having better passenger experience, requires us to be a trendsetter and also a company which is famous with its best practices. That's why we've been pushing ourselves hard to be one of the leaders in the aviation industry. That's why right after achieving triple runway operations, we put ourselves a target to go for quadruple operations.
Yes, and obviously this has become the top priority at this point, but what are some other future projects that you are planning to make sure Istanbul Airport becomes the leading airport in the region and the world?
Actually, today, Istanbul Airport has already achieved to be the busiest airport in Europe with respect to air traffic movements. So that has put us to the top position in Europe. And on top of that, we've been the most connected airport globally. We have now achieved 321 destinations where from Istanbul you can go to more than 130 countries and 6 continents, which has been our initial target. But after this, our aim is to enhance this connectivity with additional airlines and additional destinations from Istanbul, and as well as I said, increasing the efficiencies and passenger experience, enhancing passenger experience. So in terms of airlines, we are globally number 2. We will keep working to attract more airlines. Also, we will be again continue our cooperation with Turkish Airlines in their growth targets and keep providing the necessary infrastructure for that. As you may know, Istanbul Airport project has been structured in a four-phase model. We have completed the largest phase under phase one, which allowed us to provide capacity for 90 million passengers per year. Currently, we are undergoing the second phase investments, which will allow us to go up to 120 million capacity. But at the end of all the planned investments, which will happen after phase four, we will be able to provide capacity to 200 million passengers per year.
Yes, and speaking of connectivity, there were also reports that Istanbul airports could be connecting through a high-speed rail. What are the latest developments on that?
Frankly speaking, Istanbul Airport has been really good connected to the rest of the world. But our aim is to also connect the airport to the country better as well. And there, the government has plans to go for the tender for high-speed railway, as you said. That will connect Ankara to Istanbul, and from Sabiha Gökçen to Istanbul Airport, the high-speed train will continue. So it will have a speed 350 kilometers per hour, and it will be capable of carrying passengers under 80 minutes from Ankara to Istanbul. So once this is also achieved, the connectivity of the airport to the other cities also will be enhanced, and that will be a major development.
Yes, and Istanbul Airport also has a massive digital infrastructure network built in. What are other digital investments you are planning? Could you tell us about that?
Well, actually, we have an advantage as a new airport which was built recently. When compared to the other airports globally, we have used cutting-edge technologies which put us in a better position. And we keep investing in technology every year to restore our position. With respect to systems, the airport is a smart airport where most of the operations are done automatically. We make use of artificial intelligence, robotic process automations, and also contactless systems which allows passengers to move within the airport without any human touch. Of course, there are some restrictions coming from legal arrangements or other restrictions, but we are always trying to keep us ready for future and for any customer requirements that we may face. There we are using AI in our passenger handling systems. We have been using our chatbot VR systems to direct the passengers to the gates, to the places they require. So having this technologically advanced position in hand, our strategy is to keep investing in technology so that we will keep our position as one of the leaders.
CEO of Istanbul Grand Airport, Selahattin Bilgen, thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.
Thank you so much.
To further discuss Istanbul Airport's triple runway operations and its contributions to global aviation, joining me now from Manchester, UK, is Fabrizio Poli. He's an airline transport pilot and aviation analyst. From Muscat, Oman, Fahad Ibn Masood, he's also a pilot with expertise in aviation safety and risk analysis. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Now, this implementation of triple runway operations at the Istanbul Airport, it's been described as a big milestone in aviation history. So, Fabrizio, do you agree with this view, and why is it so significant?
Well, I think first of all, the geographic location of Istanbul is key because it's a bit of a gateway, between Europe and also the Middle East. So geographically, you're in a really, really good location. Putting the third runway there just puts you on the map even more. So I think it's a great, great idea. I think it's great to see this happen. It's great for aviation. It's great for business because now, airplanes have another option where they can land to refuel, where they can land to, for cargo operations, even carrying passengers. If you're in transit between, the US and Australia, you want to go through that route, you could go via Istanbul. So I think it's really, really good for aviation and in particular for the economy in Turkey.
So after the US, Turkey is the only country that has implemented this practice. So Fahad, could you make a comparison between the US system and the Turkish system?
So the Americans have had this thing going on for a while. Hartsfield Atlanta Airport, one of the biggest in mainland USA, has been using this for umpteenth number of years, just because they had a lot of infrastructure developed in the interwar period back in the 1930s and 40s. So they have initiated this some time back. But what is majorly different here is the focus. The focus in USA is mostly domestic or regional at the most, airlines and the passengers, aircrafts as well. On the other hand, in case of Istanbul, you have truly international gateways, as correctly mentioned, excuse me, earlier. We have them on the pathway between East and West, Asia and Europe. Anything moving from Southeast Asia towards Europe or USA will transit and does transit the Istanbul airport. Numerically speaking, this will give a major jump to the arrivals, departures, and the air traffic going through. About 23% per se, if it is looked at statistically. And that automatically means a lot of economic growth, prowess, and a lot of upbringing to the aviation economic system within the state of Turkey.
Yes, and so a lot of airports actually possess these multiple runways, but Fabrizio, they're not doing these concurrent triple operations. Why isn't it that common? What is preventing other airports from doing this? What are the challenges? Is it like a concern that you would make such an investment but you wouldn't get back from it? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, when you build a runway, you not only need space on the ground, you need space in the air. So let's take, for example, London Heathrow. Now, here in England, they've talked a lot about building a third runway at Heathrow Airport. The problem is you've got to have space on the ground. You've got to have, clearance from obstacles and things like that for the planes to come in. But then you also have to have space in the air. And London, there's already a lot of other airports, and so the airspace is already quite congested. So having a third runway at an airport isn't always possible because you have to have, as I said, the ground, the space on the ground, but also the space in the air.
Okay, and Fahad, about this, so would all airports really desire to have such a high capacity feature, or are there strategic reasons some of them might not prioritize this, like apart from the space problem?
Yeah, so the challenge is the complexity. In case of parallel operations, two runway operations, it is still challenging but relatively easy to manage both on the strategic, operational, and the tactical scale of things. The pilots can do things more comfortably, conveniently, but what is a plus point, and strategically speaking, this will bring in a lot of complexity. This includes a phrase that we call as ACDM, airport collaborative decision making, where a lot of players come into the fold and come together and synergistically find a solution to the challenge of air traffic management. In this case, the pilots will have to do things very, very precisely. The projectiles or the pathways that they utilize both for departure and landings as profiles will need to be flown exactly as mentioned in the book. On the other hand, the air traffic managers and the controllers on the towers will have to be watchful, more watchful than normal, so that God forbid, the risks which are involved, which are enhanced because of TRO or triple runway operations, is not going beyond control and is kept as low as reasonably practical. So these are a few aspects which need to be looked at.
Yes, all right. And Istanbul Airport has a capacity to have 200 million passengers annually. Like this is its target. It was built that way. Currently, it's over 80 million. So, Fabrizio, from your perspective, how feasible is this target? And after Istanbul Airport's launching of this triple runway operations, do you see other European hubs feeling pressured to do the same?
Well, first of all, what they're doing in Istanbul is what's defined as an aerotropolis, where basically you build an airport, and as the airport gets bigger, you need infrastructure around the airport, because obviously if we're going from 80 million to 200 million passengers, the airport's going to need more people to work at the airport to service these passengers. So if you're going to hire more people to work at the airport, these people will have to live near the airport. And these people will have families, they'll have children that will go to school, they'll need hospitals, they will need shops for them to shop in. And so you start building the city around the airport, and that's what's called an aerotropolis. And this is certainly happening there in Istanbul. There are other parts in the world where Dubai is an aerotropolis, Panama City is an aerotropolis. But you can't always do that because, as I said before, you need to have the space. And even when you start building out, you have to be careful because, of course, you've got all these airplanes coming in. But I do think, as Fahad pointed out, I do think that technology is going to be and play an important role in this. As technology is making things easier and manageable, even from an air traffic control standpoint, using AI and things like that, I think this is going to be easier to do than it was 20 or 30 years ago because of the technology. But, what they're doing in Istanbul is, they're building this aerotropolis. It's going to bring lots of jobs. But the other thing is, a lot of companies are going to start thinking about opening up in Istanbul, because it's a place where you can get goods to and from very easily. We also have to look at what's just happened in the United States, where President Trump signed a new bill last week, where now he's going to allow supersonic air travel, civilian supersonic air travel, over continental United States. This is going to open up the market now to supersonic air travel, which is going to come back again. And here, Istanbul Airport can play a key role there, because these airplanes can land at Istanbul Airport, refuel, and then go to another destination. And so that's another thing. And then the other thing I throw in there is the electrical vertical takeoff and landing. These are new vehicles which are being produced. There's over 500 projects right now. And so once you land in the supersonic airplane at Istanbul Airport and you're going downtown Istanbul to do business, if you can jump in one of these eVTOLs and get downtown in 5 to 10 minutes, that, again, is going to tell a lot of companies, you can do business very easily in Istanbul. Well, let's open an office there. Let's hire people there, because, air travel is getting easier to get in and out there. And so this is just going to grow the economy big time. And those are the factors, I think, that, that will take it from 80 million to 200 million. There's a lot going for this airport because of the way they're doing things.
Yes, and Istanbul Airport has played a major role in shaping Turkey's aviation history. So, Fahad, how has it contributed to Europe's commercial airlines as a whole?
Majority of the airlines are wanting to go to Istanbul for a few plausible reasons. One, it's the gateway between East and the West, as I mentioned before. There is a lot of economic push that's coming across. As mentioned, we have a lot of companies opening up, wanting to open up in Istanbul because of this grandeur of triple runway operations. Statistically speaking, 200 million mark is very much doable, and this includes all the airlines within the region. Istanbul is number 2 as we speak in Europe to Heathrow, as per statistics, and it is going to build with this third runway operations in play. Considering the 200 million mark, I'm expecting something in the late 2020s, early 2030s, it's going to be there. Because 2024, 80.1 million passengers were transferred from Istanbul Airport to various other places. So the airlines, big wigs starting from the Middle East, Emirates, Etihad, Qatar, and the lot were moving towards the west. Air France, KLM, British Airways, they all have to travel east-west, west to east, and this airport holds strategic importance for them as a pathway to connect Asia and Europe.
Yes, unfortunately, that's all the time we had. Thank you all for joining me on Strait Talk. And that's all for this edition of Strait Talk with me, Zeynep Gökçe. If you've got any comments, please share them with us on X at Strait Talk TRT. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find more exclusive content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.